So far this NHL season, there has been numerous players showing why they could potentially be the league MVP and win the Hart Trophy when the season is over. But in today's video, I'm going to be talking about 5 players who I all think are leading candidates right now for the Hart Trophy. Starting off the video with the obvious one, Connor McDavid. I'm pretty sure every year that this guy stays healthy in the NHL, he's going to be in the running for the Hart Trophy. I honestly don't think I can see him scoring under 100 points if he does play a full 82 game season. Last year, 41 goals, 67 assists for 108 points. He won the Ted Lindsay Award. Obviously didn't win the Hart Trophy because the Oilers did not make the playoffs. I think that's the only reason why he didn't win. And this year, picking up right where he left off, 28 games played, 15 goals, and 25 assists for 40 points. And this Edmonton team is looking like they potentially could make it into the playoffs this season. Before the year, I predicted they would, and I predicted that Connor McDavid would win the Hart Trophy. But there has been some players putting up absolutely ridiculous numbers on some very good teams. So I think the race for the Hart Trophy this season is going to be very interesting. But Connor McDavid is certainly going to be in the running. I do hope Edmonton makes the playoffs because that just means we get to see more of Connor McDavid, the most fun player to watch in the NHL, the most offensively gifted, and he kind of had a little bit of a slow start for McDavid's standards, but he really has been picking it up. Ken Hitchcock came in, and he's really turning this Edmonton Oilers team around, and they have been looking like a playoff team over the past couple weeks, so that's why I had to include Connor McDavid in this video. Next up is Jack Eichel of the Buffalo Sabres. Before the season started, I had made a video, 5 players who could be dark horses to win the Hart Trophy, and I included Jack Eichel on this list because I said if the Buffalo Sabres are a playoff team and Jack Eichel puts up around 90 to 100 points, he's most definitely going to be in the conversation, and it's looking like that is potentially what could happen. Last year, 67 games played, 25 goals and 39 assists for 64 points, and this year, 30 games played, 9 goals, 27 assists for 36 points, and the most important thing so far as he's stayed healthy, and that's kind of what's put a damper on Jack Eichel from really developing into a superstar in the NHL, but it looks like this is the year that he finally will, and the Buffalo Sabres are one of the best teams in the NHL, so that always helps your case to be a Hart Trophy nominee when your team is one of the best in the league, and with Jack Eichel being the leader of one of the best teams in the NHL and the numbers he's producing, obviously, Jeff Skinner is getting a lot of coverage because he's scoring like a madman, but this team goes as far as Jack Eichel is going to take them. Hopefully, he can stay healthy, and if he does and he keeps up this pace of points throughout the season and they make the playoffs, I definitely think Jack Eichel will be a nominee for the Hart Trophy at the end of the season. Next up is a goaltender, and that is John Gibson of the Anaheim Ducks. Now, when you look at his stats this season, they don't jump out at you as a career year, but John Gibson is literally the only reason, in my opinion, why the Anaheim Ducks are even close to a playoff spot. Right now, they sit 3rd in the Pacific Division with 35 points, a record of 15-11-5, and like Jack Eichel with Buffalo, this Anaheim team goes as far as John Gibson will take them this season. He's played in 25 games and has 11 wins, 9 losses, and 4 overtime losses, a 2.58 goals against, and a .926 save percentage. Last year, 60 games played, 31 wins, 18 losses, 7 overtime losses, a 2.43 goals against, and a .926 save percentage. And I can honestly say I think John Gibson is one of, if not the best goaltenders in the league. If he played on a good team, then that team would be basically unstoppable, because this year Anaheim really didn't look like a playoff team. The roster, the forwards, and the defense, they just don't really look like a team that can make the playoffs or go deep when they get there. Obviously, they have an aging core, but John Gibson is literally keeping this team relevant, and for that reason, I have to consider him in this video for Hart Trophy nominees, at least at the quarter mark of the season. And honestly, I can only see his goals against and save percentages going in the right direction. Hopefully, he can get a couple more wins under his belt, but right now, I think you have to talk about John Gibson when you're talking about the MVP of the league for right now. Next up is Nathan MacKinnon of the Colorado Avalanche. Now, you could argue that I should have Mikko Rantanen in here instead. Obviously, he does have 3 more points than MacKinnon, but Nathan MacKinnon is the best player on the Colorado Avalanche team. He is just absolutely insane. Every time he touches the puck, he makes something happen. 45 points already. That top line is just unbelievable. And yes, you could argue that he shouldn't win because he has help with guys like Landeskog and Rantanen. But other than that top line, there isn't too much depth on this team. Yes, there is some guys having really good years like Kerfoot and JT Compher and those guys. But you look at the defense and obviously the bottom 6 of this team, it doesn't look like a team that would be contending contending. But when your team is led by Nathan MacKinnon and he has his wingmen like Mikko Rantanen and Gabriel Landeskog, this team is going to be very, very dangerous, and they have been one of the best teams in the NHL through the first quarter mark of the season. They sit in 5th place with a record of 17-8-5, 39 points, an unbelievable season so far for the Colorado Avalanche, and Nathan MacKinnon is on pace to shatter his point totals from last year. 74 games played, 39 goals and 58 assists for 97 points. I actually thought that he should have won the Hart Trophy last year. Obviously, it did go to Taylor Hall, but this year, I most definitely think if Nathan MacKinnon keeps up on this pace and Colorado is one of the best teams in the NHL, there is no reason why he should not win the Hart Trophy this year. 30 games played, 20 goals and 25 assists for 45 points. That's insane. 15 points over a point per game. Really, that's been unheard of, obviously, in this era, but Nathan MacKinnon is doing that, and it seems like a lot of players really are just putting up crazy numbers this year, and Nathan MacKinnon has really just been one of the best, if not the best players in the NHL throughout the first quarter mark of the season. And the last player we're going to talk about in today's video is Mitch Marner of the Toronto Maple Leafs. In my opinion, behind Connor McDavid, Mitch Marner is the second most exciting player to watch in the NHL. This year, he's just been absolutely amazing for a Toronto Maple Leafs team that is one of, if not probably the best teams in the NHL this season. When the season does come to an end, I honestly do think Toronto will hold that #1 spot. Hopefully they can make a good playoff run, but Mitch Marner, in my opinion, has been their MVP this year. Maybe behind Frederik Andersen, but this team all around is just really stacked. I don't think Mitch Marner will win the Hart Trophy just because there are so many good players on this team, and I feel like that always kind of puts a damper on your hopes for winning a Hart Trophy when you play on a stacked team. Kind of goes the same for like Nikita Kucherov and Steven Stamkos, but nonetheless, you can't ignore what Mitch Marner has been doing this season. He led the Leafs in scoring last year with 69 points in 82 games, and in 30 games this year, he has 6 goals and 34 assists for 40 points. Him and John Tavares really have something special going. Him and Austin Matthews connecting on the power play is just a thing of beauty, and Mitch Marner, I can honestly say, is probably the best playmaker and setup guy in the NHL right now. And what a step forward he has taken since last year. He played in all 82 last year, 69 points. He's only 29 behind that already in just 30 games. If he can stay healthy, he's definitely going to score more than 100 points. And for Leafs fans, that's really good, but you're going to have to pay this guy a lot of money next summer because he is a superstar in this league, and he's just been unreal, and in my opinion, is the MVP of the Leafs so far this season. So that is going to do it for this video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed. I'm going to throw some honorable mentions out there. Johnny Gaudreau of the Calgary Flames. Obviously, guys like Mikko Rantanen, Nikita Kucherov, Point, Ovechkin, Giroux, all having unbelievable seasons. Blake Wheeler for the Winnipeg Jets as well. But I had to narrow it down to 5, and these are the 5 guys that I went with. But make sure to let me know down in the comment section who are 5 players that you really think are playing like MVPs this season. If you disagree, you don't have to hate. Just let me know your opinion down in the comment section. And with that being said, I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure to drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel for daily NHL content, and I will see you guys all in the next video.